we're taking a minor pause for the 25 days of Shoujo manga just to talk about everything I read last month because I love my reading wrap-up videos and not everything I read was shoujo, so we're making a slight exception for today's video. Hello friends! Very excited that you're here. I am so excited for this reading wrap-up video because I loved everything that I read last month. Literally, the lowest star rating I gave for something was 4 stars. I said, let's go. Love that this was such a wonderful month of reading for me, or at least November was. Hopefully December will be as well. Really excited and hyped to talk about all of these things. Read a few digital stuff, read lots of physical stuff. Well, not maybe a lot, I should say. I read roughly 19 volumes of stuff of manga and manhwa. It was a smaller month of reading, but I did so much filming for this event happening this month that I was like, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just hoping I could read maybe a little bit more next month because everybody's inspiring me saying they're gonna read 25 volumes of shoujo, and I'm like, you know, I wasn't even planning because I didn't think I could, but I'm like, I want to join in the fun as well. So hopefully I will be successful. But talking about things I read last month, I was upset that last month I forgot to mention the digital things I read, so I made sure to make a mental note not to forget this time around. I am still reading The Remarried Empress. I am loving it, but these last several volumes have been brutal. I had read ahead originally, and then now I've caught back up because I'm not paying any more coins or anything. Man, I cried the first time I read it, and then the second time I read it, I cried again. So it was about Rashida, and my heart just felt gutted. Felt no sympathy for the Emperor, though. Like, hearing his side of things, like, dude, I don't care. Nope. You dug this grave, buddy. I don't know what else you're expecting, but this is all on you. So really enjoying that. I'm still reading The Dragon King's Bride. I'm loving that as well, but that has been equally heartbreaking at the same time because things have happened with Luciana's baby. People are conspiring against them, and yeah, just even how it ended with this last chapter from this past week, I was just like, girl, I need you to talk some sense into your man. I ship y'all really hard. I love them, but I'm like, no, he cannot do what he is saying he wants to do. So to be determined on where things go there, but still loving that one as well. I am blanking on the title, but I call it the Grandpa Webtoon. That's what the creator calls it. I am loving that series. So thankful for it because it is the one that is reviving my heart after reading chapters of The Remarried Empress and The Dragon King's Bride. So very thankful for that. Lots of laughter. Highly recommend. It's on Webtoons as well. And then this past week, I meant to share it in my manga news video. Was so bummed that I forgot. Maybe meant to be. Came back with a season 2. I was about to say from hiatus. I don't know if it was on hiatus or break, but it came back. Season 2 premiere. I have missed them so much. I loved it. I laughed. I cannot wait to see where things go. Because the way that chapter ended, I was like, oh, we're ending here? Like, it was very good. I am so stoked for it. Cannot wait to read more of that one. So lots of good digital things. I also read Your Forma, but I'm not going to say much about it because I also read, these are physically, but I also read Diary of a Female Lead, Volume 1, and then Colette Decides to Die, Volume 1. All 3 of these, including Your Forma, I did a first impression review of. If you'd like to go check it out and get all of my rambly thoughts. I was sad that at the time, I didn't say more about this manga. When it comes to favorite shoujo reads this month, hands down, this one is. It radiates with me and just showing the power of shoujo manga, and I just love that. And I feel, as somebody who loves shoujo that it has been life-changing for me, and so I felt like seeing a female lead that is having her life gradually changed in a shoujo-like way, and her brother using shoujo manga to help her find her own love story is very inspiring and very fun to me. So this has been my favorite shoujo read. Originally, I was saying it was my favorite read of November, but then I kept going and looking, like grabbing the manga for this video, and I said, no, I don't think that's quite fully true after I grabbed one of them. Also want to mention that for my last video, my top 5 Wednesday video of Beastly characters, that I did reread a very large chunk of Sacrificial Princess. I don't know how many volumes, but I definitely read a whole bunch of that, and I didn't think to pull it off my shelf until just now. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I read those 3. I also read Volume 1 of April Showers Brings May Flowers. flowers. This is a seinen manga. It was very wonderful. Another female lead who's very inspired by shoujo manga and loves it, but feels she can never be that kind of heroine because she is on the more chubbier side. She wears glasses. She doesn't feel she's pretty. And then in comes our male lead, who I don't like referring to characters as golden retrievers, but there is nobody more golden retriever than him. Like, he is a sweet, precious ray of sunshine in this manga. To be determined on this girl. I got some feelings for her, but we ain't gonna talk about her today. But I loved both of these characters. Very excited to see where this manga goes. Shipping them, cheering for our female lead, and her gradually changing and seeing that she is perfect how she is, and that people can just love her for her. My favorite read, or what ended up being my favorite read, was I'm the Villainess, so I'm Taming the Final Boss, Happily Ever After. This is volume 4. This is just a collection of short stories. If you are a fan of this manga, I do have a video review of the manga series. You need to read this. This is like the perfect wrap up to the manga. It was perfection. I was flipping through it and it brought me so much joy and so much laughter and smiles, and I'm like, this was my favorite read. Also, I'm sorry if you guys can hear that truck. That truck is so loud. I don't know who owns it, but it's so loud. Anyway, hopefully I didn't catch up on camera, but I love this manga. I'm going to say this is my favorite read of this month, at least I'm pretty sure, or November, excuse me, because it was so much fun seeing these characters again, seeing Levi's backstory, I'm pretty sure I remember his name right, and seeing just all of it was beautiful. I loved it. It was everything. I laughed from start to finish, and I just can't recommend this enough. If you're a fan of this series, you must read this. It will make your day better. It will make your day 10 times better. No doubts. Definitely what it did for me, and even as I was flipping through it again, it was just great. I love all the expressions. I have just missed them so much. I've missed them so much, and it was just very, very wonderful. I've had so many people tell me you need to read the light novels, and I really do, because just being back with these characters was honestly everything. For this next one, I was so thankful. My heart did not break and shatter into 1,000 pieces like it did with volume 19, Queen's Quality volume 20. That's not to say that there weren't some sad moments. I don't think I cried, but man, I wanted to cry. And I just want to say, I don't appreciate this mangaka making me love all of the bad guys. Tsubasa here. I love him. He is such a precious, precious young man, and I never expected I would ever say that because of events that have happened before this. But the scene with Tsubasa and the Silver Snake, y'all, my heart broke, and I miss this so much. It was good. It was good. Very good stuff, and my heart is going out to Fumi. There was more of her and Tsubasa and a backstory. I was like, whoa, that backstory, it was a lot. This series continues to be phenomenal. I love it so much, and every time I read a new volume, I'm just thankful for everybody who voted for it at my Shoujo event, because y'all, it is good, it is peak, it is wonderfully heartbreaking, and I hope everything's gonna be okay in the next volume, because I really need it to be. I don't want my heart to break again. That was probably why I read some Villainess fluff and absolutely loved it, and that is If the Villainess and Villain Met and Fell in Love. I reread volume 1 because it's been a while since we got volume 2, and I loved both of them. It was so good. I really, really love this series. I feel like if you're looking for a villainous story that's not actually a villainous story, this is for you. I will say, talking about volume 2, since I've already done like a mini review in the past of volume 1, oh my goodness, I need everybody to stay away from that prince, and the girl who's like out to get our female lead, I need her to wake up and see and like leave the prince, because she knows, like, there's a moment where she's like, oh no, I made him angry, and she looks scared, she looks panicked, and I'm like, girl, if you're feeling this way with this man, you need to be leaving, but the romance, it was so good. It's like slow burn in like the fluffiest of ways, and I just felt so much blushy, all the heart, or all of the, yeah, I'm getting so excited, I can't even talk, all the butterflies in my stomach. I loved it so much. It was very, very good, well worth the wait, and a very good sequel to volume 1. And I loved how everything wrapped up with the previous arc. I'm excited for the next one, because you know something's gonna go down, because that one girl, she's just looking to make her life miserable, and it's like, girl, please don't. Work on you, work on being happy. Don't worry about our female lead, let them be a thing, and we'll just call it a day. I can't believe I forgot this. There was one other thing that I read that I didn't mention at the very beginning of the month, like November 1st. I reread like 100 chapters of Loving Yamada. Like, like, no, maybe close to 75 at least. I was having the time of my life being back in that series. It had been so long. I was picking up volumes, the series, and I still am because I did read volume 3. And I will say, I feel like if you, now I love the entire series, okay? Obviously, I've reread almost the entire thing, so I have to love it, okay? That was like my 3rd or 4th reread of the series. I love these characters, and now I'm caught up, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel because I'm caught up, but it was amazing. But I will say, I sort of forgot that volumes 1 and 2, they are good. I enjoyed them a lot. Volume 3, I really feel like kicks off the story, and that is where I felt the most engaged. We know all who characters are at this point. Now we're getting into those romantic shenanigans, and I was 100% here for it. Seeing Akane get really upset at that one scene, seeing Yamada say things, and it was just all really good stuff. I really, really loved it. Again, I love the entire series. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying volumes 1 and 2 are bad. Not saying that. But I really feel like even when I think back on my rereads, it's volume 3's content that got me hooked on the story, and I was like, okay, there is no more turning back. And that's pretty much what happened when I started rereading. I just couldn't stop. I just kept going, and I was sad when I got to the end, and I was like, I'm at the end. I'm at the end. So I probably roughly read, what, Loving Yamada is on volume 10 right now in Japan, and so I roughly read about 7 to 8 volumes of just Loving Yamada. Had the time of my life, highly would recommend. I do have a manga review of this series. It was when it was digital only before we got the paperbacks. So if you're interested in like more thoughts, definitely check out that video. But I'm loving it. I'm having the time of my life. And as you can see, I'm having the time of my life with all the things that I'm reading. And let me tell y'all, this manhwa right here, the plot, the twists and the turns. Why Raeliana ended up at the Duke's Mansion, volume 8. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Like there were things coming out. Things are being said. And I was just like, I didn't expect this. I didn't predict this is where it was going. Raeliana is getting her memories back and she's seeing things and she knows who the other person is. She knows what happened. She knows maybe not why or how she got here, but she knows who is responsible for her being here. She knows who Beatrice is, and I was just like, y'all, this was a lot. It was good. It was good. In fact, when I was going through my, like, each month, I marked down what was my favorite manga of that month and what was my favorite manhwa. You know, with this volume, Raeliana has been mentioned 3 different times on my favorites of 2024. I was said, oh, I think I like reading this manga or this manhwa, and it's funny to me because I forget every time how good this series is. It completely just swallows me up and I just can't let go of it when I'm reading. Have to keep going, have to get answers. I'm crushed to know that the next volume is the final volume. I'm not ready for it to end. I love Noah and Raeliana. Some swoony things happened. That was really good, but it is amazing. It has gotten better and better, and I have high hopes and anticipation for the next volume. But the volume that did end when it comes to manhwa is What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, volume 6. I read this when I was sick and I loved it. I bring that up because I have a hard time focusing when I'm sick, but I didn't have that problem when reading. It was so good. Seeing the happily ever after and what it was everything. My favorite chapter or chapters were actually the bonus chapters with a certain special character. I loved said character. They were so amazing. Really just love how this series wrapped up. It was beautiful. I had the time of my life, but I had a fantastic time. I love the in-laws meeting. That was great. Miso's dad is a hoot and just everything that folded with that. This is a really, really wonderful series. If you're looking for a shorter rom-com that takes place in an office setting, this is one I would definitely recommend. Also, Mr. Parker, or I think it's Mr. Park or Mr. Parker. I was so happy for him. That's all I'll say. So it was very good. I will miss reading more volumes of this series because I've just enjoyed it so very much. Going back to manga though, and going to some fluff, Aria of the Beech Forest, volume 2. This was so sweet. I am just thriving for Aria and seeing her make friends, her having her first outings away from her home. Oh, it was precious. Colleen, who is this girl right here, so precious in this volume, so sweet, and I just love their friendship. As the blurb says, they have an unexpected visitor that comes. I've got mixed feelings on them. I don't think they're a bad character, but one thing I really loved about this volume specifically is being content where you are with what you have, and how that's a very beautiful thing. You don't have to go to the grand city or somewhere else to be happier. With the little you have, it could be more than enough, and that is perfectly fine. And I hope that Aria continues to feel this way, that she won't let anybody sway her. But that cliffhanger, y'all, that cliffhanger, things are gonna go down in volume 3, which is gonna be the final volume as well. And you know Aria's gonna feel hurt because of what happened, because of things that were said, things that were done. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I definitely will be seated. I very much continue to love this series, and I know I will very much miss these characters when we finally get the final volume. This volume here really surprised me, and that's In the Name of the Mermaid Princess Volume 4. Now, if you've been reading this series, I do feel like the series, or I don't feel like the series shies away from racism, for prejudice, and different things that are happening with that, you know, with the humans and the unhumans, considering Mio herself, the female lead, is an unhuman. This is not her. But she is a mermaid, and she has faced discrimination all of her entire life. And so she is fighting and help other unhumans and also be free, be with the prince here, Chiaki. And the thing is, though, what has happened, she almost got kidnapped in the previous volume. Well, now she's being sold off to the highest bidder at this auction. She is the spotlight, and that's the whole thing. You see different things that are happening with unhumans being trafficked. I was just very, very shocked. I wouldn't say the series is graphic by any means, but it really got dark in this volume, and I felt very triggered and upset. And I feel like rightfully so. Like, that is part of the point, and I don't feel any person should be like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. No, that's a big deal. Even in a fictional world, that's a big deal. So it was really hard seeing, especially like there was some characters that have purposely offered themselves up to this auction to be bought by other people because they thought their lives would be better. And that is where Mio beautifully shines as the perfect and amazing heroine that she is, of fighting and standing back against injustice. And that's exactly what she does. I really dislike the villain in this series. I was talking to my friend Holly because we buddy read it together. I laughed because I was a little bit late, but we buddy read it. There's a backstory I feel like that's trying to redeem him, and I'm just like, how much malice he had, the things he did to the Unhumans. I just don't know if he could have a redeeming backstory for me. They'd be like, okay, I can overlook the wrongs you've done. No, you know, when you make certain expressions, we'll just say very happily laughing at people's pain and their anguish and all of that, no. No. No, I want to say that he'll be redeemed, but I'm not feeling it, y'all. I'm not feeling it. Mio, she was beautiful. She was wonderful. There was a character that stands up for themselves because of Mio, was flourishing, was loving that. Very beautiful. And so the story's amazing, but it was just a little bit darker than usual, and I'm excited to see where things go because I said Mio took a stand, and I'm like, yes, put that person in their place. We'll see, though, to be determined if my feelings change on that villain, though. My fluff, the Ice Guy and the Cool Girl Volume 8, especially Volume 9. Loving this series, but the plot twist, y'all, the plot twist at the end. What was that? This is my fluffy, feel-good manga anytime, all the time. And then you throw in this plot twist, and I'm like, what? I was literally reeling like, did I just read that? I think I read something wrong. I had to go back. I'm like, no, I read what is happening. I'm like, how is this happening? How is this happening? Fantastic volume. But that plot twist, y'all, no. I ain't here for that. So I need things to happen. In Volume 9, I'm loving the very slow burn development of romance between our leads here. I'm okay with that because we have other great characters like, oh my gosh, his sister was so fantastic with her like manager dude or whoever he is. He's the producer or whatever of the music. I love them. I shipped them really hard, okay? And I thrived. Loved the beginning. It was wonderful and beautiful. And of course, our couple here, well, it looks like they're the couple, but our couple here of the coworkers, love them as well. We also had an all-girls chapter. Love when we get those chapters because I really feel like it just gives beautiful attention to them. Also, Himuro's, some of his old buddies, loved that as well. Loved everything except for that plot twist. I'd never thought with a fluffy manga, like how can you say there's a plot twist? But if you read it, you'll know what I mean. And we're just gonna hope that things with volume 9, that everything works out, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be rioting in my next video, or whenever that volume comes out, there will be rioting. Ah, my favorites, my favorites. So I read the second half of volume 42 of Haikyu and the first half of volume 43. Now, I know that sounds really weird, but my all-time favorite arc is at the halfway of volume 42, going into volume 43, and then my second favorite arc is 43 to the end. So I was not able to read more, but my husband's been rewatching Haikyu. Listening to it makes me happy. And I was like, you know, I could sit here and watch with him, but I was like, I'm just gonna go read my favorite parts of the manga. And that is exactly what I did. But this is all I had time for, so I count this as one volume because these are 2 volumes, but yeah. Anyway, I count it as 1 because that's how I read it. But I love it so much. There's nothing, no other manga that can ever, I mean, at least that I can foresee in the future here, that could ever beat the ending of Haikyu. It is perfect in every single way. I wouldn't change a single thing. And volume 42, with that one arc, with that one character, it is my all-time favorite. There's no other arc that can beat that arc ever. I love it so much. It is the most reread thing I've ever read. And like what, Daily Report about My Witch Senpai, I've reread that 6 times. But this series, like this arc, I actually used to have it on my desk and would just randomly flip through it even before I read the beginning of Haikyu and was just anime only. I have always loved this arc from the bottom of my heart. It is so good, and it felt so good to reread it again. It felt so good. Made me feel all the warm fuzzies. I love it. But for the very final thing I read The Boy I Love Became the Jaded Emperor. I reread volume 1 and then I read volume 2. I had plans to do a video review on this series, like if you saw my schedule. I don't think that's going to be happening. Well, I guess actually when this video goes live, you'll see that that didn't happen unless something went crazy, and yes, I did. I loved volume 1. Volume 1 was really, really good. I'm not one to read sad or tragic things, but the way that the fear was portrayed through the panels and the storytelling, I felt so very engaged and just really, really, really enjoyed it. Volume 2, I enjoyed, but it was not to the same extent that I thought I would. It was a good volume. I'm not saying it was a bad volume, but I felt my mind wandering in a few places, and I think ultimately what I wanted here is Eleonora to have romantic feelings faster. I feel like that's a weird thing to say. I loved how the story unfolded, and I think it was very realistic for Eleonora, but I wanted, when it came to the romance, I wanted it much faster than how it took place, because it did feel sort of sudden when the romance actually happened, and I would have liked that to have been stretched out rather than her having to come to terms with, okay, I know who Ham is, and how do we move forward in a romantic kind of way? Can she even see him in a romantic way? That took up a large part of this volume, and again, I think that was realistic, and I felt like she needed that. That's just not quite what I personally wanted. I would have wanted her to overcome that more faster, and then the romantic story unfold. Again, that was just me personally, but the reason I did love this volume, or at least really enjoyed, is the ending was so very good, so compelling, and I had tears in my eyes when I read it because it was not the twist I expected by any means, and honestly, I bumped up my star rating on Goodreads because of how good the ending was. I would have kept this series on my shelf anyway, and I would still recommend it, but that ending solidified everything I had wanted for this couple from the very start of their romantic journey. It was just perfect, and it linked back to volume 1. It was good. It was so good, and I was really happy to see other reviewers say, yeah, I liked the volume, but the ending made me bump it up because it was just that good, that wholesome, and that touching. It was a beautiful, fantastic ending, and I'm not saying the series was bad, because I'm gonna keep it. I had a good time. I enjoyed myself reading it. I feel like when I actually flipped through volume 2, I sort of actually wonder if my mind wandering had more to do with my kids running around yelling and me attempting to read than it did the actual volume itself. But I definitely look forward to rereading both these volumes again. I'm sorry to anyone that was looking forward to a video review. Please know I would recommend it if you're looking for a reincarnation story that has a tragic beginning and then a second chance and leads to a happy ending. This is definitely a series I would recommend. It's 2 volumes only. It's a josei manga. The art is beautiful. Yeah, I would definitely recommend that, and it was fun. There's some fantasy elements that I also really enjoyed. So glad I came back, reread volume 1, and gave volume 2 a chance. It was a very strong way to end the month. I was hoping to squeeze in a little bit more, but during my kids' Thanksgiving break, I did no reading. I did no reading. I think the only thing I read that week was like WebToon, so which is fine. As my friend Zoe encouraged me, sometimes you're just doing other things that you love, and yeah, working on Christmas cards was also a thing. So yeah, that is everything I read in the month of November. Lots of gushing in this video, which makes me really, really happy, and hopefully for you and for me that December will be a fantastic month of reading. I would love to hear what were some of your favorite reads recently or what you're planning to read. Let me know down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!